generation. No more standing out in line. So good at wasting our time. We are the lazy generation. We are the lazy generation. We are the lazy generation now.
Welcome to round 10 of the GP4 Offline League Championship 2008. We are here for the German Grand Prix at Hockenheim, and as you can see on the track map here, we are using the old Hockenheim, not the new one, after a unanimous vote by drivers 12 to 6 to use the old Grand Prix track compared to the new one. If you don't know, the old one was used up until, I believe it was 2001, I think it was? Yeah, 2001, and then they decided to make a new track layout because, well, I think for safety reasons and various other things. But anyway, so the news for this race is that Will Neller has announced that if he does win the championship with Ferrari this year, that he will leave Ferrari, as he says he wants to give it to another driver. So I'm not sure, so it'll be interesting to see if he does move, if he wins the championship, that is. Obviously second at the moment behind Joseph Willows. Now Hockenheim, obviously the new track, I don't particularly like it. I don't think many other people like it, but I was one of the many people that do for the old one. So anyway, here we are for the grid. So it's a McLaren 1-2 with Felix Sonntag on pole ahead of his teammate Joseph Willows. Third place is Jamie Mackenzie with Paige Knight, an impressive fourth for Toyota. Fifth place, Wade Cooper, another good qualifying, with George Roke in sixth place. And as we go further down the order, in seventh place, I believe it's Will Neller, disappointing qualifying for both Ferraris, with Rala Moichin in 8th place, a good qualifying for him considering the season that he has had so far. And as we keep on going down the order, in 9th and 10th place, in 9th place is Evan Byrne, followed by James Willows, down in 10th place. So, good qualifying by both Toyotas, both in the top 10. Florent Volker in 11th, good qualifying, with Bruno Junqueira, very disappointing 12th after considering he's had 3 third places in his 3 races so far. Sam Thompson, 13th, followed by Jack Boyman in 14th. 15th is Mikos Gal, followed by Finley Strachan. Good qualifying, well, not particularly good qualifying from both Williams. In 17th is Dominic Delacia, followed by Azul Zafri in 18th. And now we're going to come back to the last 2 rows. In 19th place is Alex Southgate, a disappointing qualified with him being out-qualified by Austin Gill with Viggo Holst in 20th. And then on the last row of the grid is the 2 Super Aguris of Dmitry Surkov and Adam Wolff. And that is the grid for the German Grand Prix. As you can see, the weather, it is a wet race. It is the first time this season that a race has started under wet conditions. As you can see from the forecast, that during the middle of the race, it is looks like it will stop raining. As we are now on the grid, as you can see, the track is very wet. It's pouring down with rain. The conditions are pretty awful. And the lights are on. There's 4 lights. Now there's 5. A long hold, quite a long hold, and the lights are out, and away we go. And it's quite a slow start by all the drivers. No surprise it's in the wet. I believe Sontag's made a good start. He's in 4th. Mackenzie's made a good start. He's got past Williams. He's on the inside of Sontag coming into turn 1. Is Mackenzie going to take the lead? Sontag's left stayed on the outside line, and Mackenzie has taken the lead. What a start by Mackenzie, and he's already off. Sontag's in 2nd. Paige Knight is up to 3rd. It's been a bad start by Joseph Willows, who's down to 4th place, I believe, as you can see. Horrific conditions. You can't see the crowd at the back of the straight. As Joseph Willows is being overtaken by George Roke of 5th place. An awful start by Joseph Willows on the front row, as is Mackenzie 1st, Sontag 2nd, Paige Knight 3rd, Cooper 4th, Roke 5th, and there's contact. That's Moichin again. He just can't avoid anything bad luck. He's been hit in the back. He's lost his rear wing. That was by a Toro Rosso. That is Florent Volker. He's lost it as the Red Bull there goes. You can see on board, you can see by the camera view of Rella Moichin, Volker sadly just couldn't slow down. It was bound to happen. There was bound to be some contact with the chicane. There's the Ferrari gets held out to dry. I believe that's Will Neller. He's been held out to dry. So all the other cars have been held up behind. And all that is Finley Strachan, who's lost his front wing and rear wing. There's madness going on at the back. I knew that would happen. In the first lap, in that first chicane, there is usually always contact or collisions, or it usually always bunches up there. But there is Moichin and Volker and Neller coming through on the right. going down. So Mackenzie still leads at the moment. And coming down the straight. Oh, there's Florian Volker who's gone off, and he's lost his rear wheel, so he's had an incident. It's been a horrific home race for Florian Volker. He had a decent qualifying, but as you can see here, what happened? You can see Will Nella just comes cannoning in and hits the back of Volker's car. Somehow manages to get away without any damage, but I don't know what's going to happen to Nella. I don't know what he was thinking. He just didn't slow down at all. He should have known that I think Volker had hit the front of Moitian. Nearly hit him again as well. You see that is Volker out of the race. There's Strachan, Southgate going past Strachan. Southgate's not had a good start either. He's obviously been held out to dry. So Mackenzie leads at the moment. Sontag is in second. Paige Knight, great start for her, in third place. I believe it's Waze Cooper in fourth, and then Roke in fifth, with Joseph Willis dropped down to sixth. You see the confirmation Volker is out of the race. Sontag, this is not the start he would have wanted. He would have wanted to have kept the lead, but at least he has not dropped any further down the order. He's only dropped down to second, so he could still get back past Mackenzie with the lead. The crowd will be cheering him on as we're coming through the stadium section. At the end of the first lap, you can see how wet the track is. Like an ice rink at the moment. So I imagine the guys will be struggling. As you can see, it's still raining pretty hard, so it's not going to get any better anytime soon. Mackenzie's the fastest lap at 1:51. At the end of the first lap, and Roke actually has got past Paige Knight, Waze Cooper, sorry, and is now on the back of Paige Knight, I should say. Here come the drivers at the back, comes Strachan, and all the drivers moving on. The first lap instant here is, I believe, is this Boyman, coming up the inside of Zafri. Zafri defends coming into turn 1. Here's DeLacy who's going to get on the back of him. This is going to be some great battles here, as we're going to have a lot of slipstream down the straight. There are the two Ferraris who are struggling, and that is, I believe, Junqueira being overtaken. Here's the battle here, Zafri, Boyman, and DeLacio. Oh, nearly 3 wide as DeLacio is going to try and go around the outside. Surely that's not going to work. He's going to have to stay behind, as there comes the Super Aguri. Super Aguri tries to make the move there. I don't know who that is, as Boyman stays behind Zafri. And Mackenzie and Sontag have managed to get away at the moment from the rest of the pack, so from Paige Knight, Roke, and Cooper, and Joseph Willis as well. So here we are on lap 2 at the moment. Here's Adam Wolf in 17th, who's locking up, trying to stop the car, struggling to stop the car into the second chicane. As here comes DeLacio, who's also not had a good season. I think he's only scored 1 point this season so far, I believe. There are the two Ferraris stuck in between, or the Red Bull stuck between the Ferrari sandwich. Coming into the third chicane, and there is the Honda making a move on the Super Aguri, and that is Junqueira who's gone off and he's lost a position. Or many more, I don't know how many more he's lost, but he's lost a few positions. See, I wonder what happened to him, but Junqueira's not had a good weekend so far. He's qualified at, I think it was 14th, I believe, and he's made that mistake after getting a few places at the order as Boyman, Zafri, and Zurkov having a great race so far. Battling here as though the guys at the back, Moitian and Strachan, as a yellow flag out, and that is Alex Southgate who's gone off. Southgate who had a poor start as well. He's lost it in these tricky conditions as we go on board. Comes around into the right hander coming into the stadium, so he just can't turn the car, he just no grip at all, and he goes off into the gravel trap. Mackenzie sets another fastest lap of the race. Okay, trying to get himself going, quite difficult. He does manage to get himself going. He'll be in 18th place, so he'll still be ahead of the 3 drivers at the back. Moitian, Strachan, and I'm not sure who the other one is actually. Sadly, oh, Gal. Sorry, it is Gal. Here is Junqueira Zafri. So Junqueira is a bit under threat from being overtaken by Force India here, as there is Surkov who's going to go on the inside and take Boyman. A great move by Surkov. Very cheap, very sneaky there from Surkov. He's having a great race so far. We see on board side by side between Zafri and DeLacio. DeLacio went back on the inside, swapped on the inside, or tried to go on the inside as Zafri, and there was actually contact, as you can see. Managed to get away with no damage, and DeLacio manages to control the car. There's Adam Wolf right behind this lot. Great battling in the back pack as Adam Wolf goes wide coming up the first chicane, goes onto the very wet curb, and he loses some speed. I imagine he'll probably be overtaken unless there's a car right behind him. We're onto the back straight now, going at still 320 kilometers an hour, probably 40 or 35 in this weather. Here is the battle for 13th place. Or, well, 12th. But no, I think Surkov has got past these guys. A great race so far from Surkov, who is up to 12th place. Trying to get Super Guri first point of the season. Super Guri, the only team, I believe, to not get a point yet this season. Here is Rumble with Rope going in the stadium section. Mackenzie still leading, sometimes still in second. Ropes in third, with Page Knight behind in fourth place, with Cooper in fifth, and Joseph Willows in sixth. So Nella's seventh. So even though Willows hasn't been doing particularly well over these last couple of races or so, Nella hasn't been doing any better. So Willows is, at the moment, will be happy in sixth place as long as he's ahead of his rival, because there's a big gap to Sontag, and then I believe it's Rope behind him. As here is Thompson behind his teammate James Willows. Will Nella just in front there. There is Evan Byrne, there's Shukera behind there as well. If we come down the back straight, Willie trying to make a move coming into the first chicane. I don't think he is close enough. As here is Mackenzie using 1.4 seconds ahead of Sontag, so it's still fairly close. Mackenzie's ever so slightly edging away, but just one little mistake could cost him dearly and bring Sontag back into it, and depending on if he doesn't get past or gets held up, Rope could come into it as well. As here is Thompson now trying to pass his teammate James Willows coming into the first chicane. Will he make the move stick? And yes he does. Thompson, who I believe didn't have a particularly great qualifying, as here is Boyman trying to overtake Junqueira coming into the first corner, and Boyman goes wide, almost going off, and here comes Surkov, who's going to make a move on the Williams driver, or attempting a great race by the Russian. He's definitely entertaining the crowds at the moment. Is he past him? I believe he is. And yes, he has, but now Boyman's going to get slipstream right behind him, and he's going to try and probably retake him into the first chicane under the Foster's Beer lad, and he tries to make the move, but Surkov defends very well. They're really having a go at the moment. So as you can see here, Rope in third. Sontag stuck in a BMW sandwich, as now Boyman does try and go back past Surkov. Is he going to make the move stick coming into the second chicane? And he does make the move stick indeed. Great battling here in the mid-pack, and here is Jack Boyman now, who's closed up behind Bruno Junqueira. He got away rapidly from Surkov, and he's going to pass Junqueira. Junqueira will not be happy with that. He's had a nightmare weekend so far. Boyman just about manages to stop the car coming into the first chicane. As he comes down the straight, as Boyman now is going past, I believe this is Evan Byrne, and he does make the move stick, so he's up into 10th place. Boyman on a charge at the moment. So far on lap 7 we've only had one driver retire, and that is Florian Bolger after getting hit by Will Nella. I don't know what the stewards will say about that. As here comes Boyman now going past James Willows for 9th place. And he does indeed make the move stick. Boyman on a charge at the moment. He's suddenly got a massive bit of pace, as here is, I believe this is Sam Thompson right behind Will Nella, who in turn is also close behind Joseph Willows. A big battle here in the fight for the title. At the moment, it's only these two that are really in it. As, oh, Nella tries to make a move, very late move, just manages to get past Doctor in time, but now that's given Thompson the opportunity to get past, as you can see from the replay from Joseph Willows' cam. See, Nella was never really on, to be honest. He tried it. If he did keep on going, he probably would have clashed into the side of Willow's car and probably taken themselves out the race. But good that he didn't, as Rumble with Surkov, who's behind, I believe, is this Evan Byrne and Bruno Junqueira. So Surkov is closed up behind these two. Junqueira has been held up behind Byrne, and Junqueira is getting past Byrne. What can Surkov do as well? Surkov is going to be right behind these lot. Is he going to try and make a move? He's close, as Shinkera is going to go on the inside, and he makes the move stick. And Surkov is going to make the move on Evan Byrne, is he? And yes, he does. A very good move there by Surkov. As now here comes is this Thompson on Joseph Willows? I believe it is. And he does make it past, but Thompson makes a mistake, and Willows is going to get past. And now Nella is going to be right behind as well. Nella gets past Thompson, as well as, well, he's going to try and get past Joseph Willows, but Thompson is going to still have the slipstream, so he can still stick behind these guys. And Nella's on the inside, coming into the first chicane. Thompson is behind, so he could easily pick off the pieces if this goes to hell. and he does make the move stick. And Will Nella, crucially, is ahead of Joseph Willows in the championship fight, but Joseph Willows is not going to have that, and he's right behind. He's going to have the slipstream. He's going to get past him into the next chicane. Thompson's just going to hang back and hope these two take each other out, so he can gain a few positions. As we're coming into the second chicane, as Willows made the move stick. Yes, he has. And now Thompson is right behind as well. That's going to give him a chance to try and get back past. Great battling here after on lap 10 of the German Grand Prix. We don't know what's going on up front, but I don't think I imagine much is happening as Thompson's going to make a move on Nella coming into the third chicane. It's the third chicane, isn't it? Yes, it is the third chicane. Is he going to make the move stick? And yes, he does. So that's not good for Will Nella. That's going to help Joseph Willows massively in the championship fight. So as long as Joseph Willows stays ahead of Nella, it won't matter too much. Even if Willows isn't getting, doing that well. As here is Roke, who is caught up to Sontag and is going to take him on the inside. This is the first chicane, I think it is, and Roke takes second place. And it is a 1-2 for BMW. So obviously, I didn't know Roke was actually catching up to Sontag, or I didn't know that he was close behind him, but he's got past as Nella and Willows are battling again. And that Thompson has got past them both. And Nella keeps ahead of Joseph Willows. The battle is still going to continue as we're on lap 12. Who knows what could happen later on in the race with the weather changing. Actually, we saw the fact that the weather is meant to get dry, so we don't know what the pace will be like with these cars in the dry. As Willows is going to go past Nella, coming into the second chicane. Is he going to make the move stick? It's side by side, and Willows has made the move stick. As Nella is still behind Joseph Willows, so he could easily still make another move. I believe he's still got the slipstream, and I think he does. I think he could still make a move. Coming into the next chicane, they're going at 335 kilometers an hour, and Joseph Willows pushes him out, and they make contact. Contact has been made by the two title rivals. They've both gone off. They've both avoided managing to spin. Willows still comes out ahead, but here comes Jack Boyman, who's also behind, and now the battle is going to intensify again. So Boyman is going to want to get past. He's trying to go around the outside of Joseph Willows as we see the replay of what happened. If we go back, you can see Joseph Willows comes across Will Nella there, and I suppose Nella did have the speed and the slipstream and the straight line speed to get by, but Willows manages to keep in front. I don't think there'll be too many problems with that. He didn't exactly gain an advantage. Nearly cut right in front of Nella again. He wasn't too pleased with that. Nearly could have taken out his front wing. As Sontag is in the pits for an early stop, obviously a different strategy to hopefully see if he can maybe jump BMWs. I wonder how they will react to this as Page Knight is in as well. Ford Toyota's had a quiet race in 4th place, done pretty well Page Knight so far, no problems at all really. There's Kuba warming out the third. Willows still in front of Will Nella with Boyman behind. So this is going to continue. As Will Nella is on the inside of Joseph Willows, and Boyman is going to be right behind these two. Is he going to make the move stick? I'm not sure. And Will Nella is going to take in front, and there's contact again between all three, between Boyman, Willows, and Nella, but they've managed to get away with it, and Will Nella's still ahead of Joseph Willows. And here comes Willows, who's going to get back past Will Nella. Great battling here for the title fight. Boyman is just I suppose, a bystander really in this. And Willows is going to take the inside and retake the position from Jack Boyman as Will Nella, as there is a yellow flag at the first chicane. I don't know what's happened, but obviously something has happened. Oh, that's Evan Byrne who's gone off the track. He's lost his front and rear wing, and that was a Honda who's lost his front wing as well. I believe that's Galacio, but something has happened here as Byrne does a spectacular reverse onto the track. Let's see what happened. So Byrne had already lost his front wing, it seems. Let's see what happened. So this is coming into the first chicane, so there's a couple of cars off later on in the first chicane. I don't know who that is, but oh, it's Knight and Junqueira. So Page Knight has collided with Junqueira, and that is why Surkov made contact with Junqueira. Junqueira went off, and then Junqueira came on the track, and unfortunately caught Page Knight's car, and they have both lost wheels, and they are out of the race. How unfortunate that is. as there is a lot of action here going on at the moment. So I don't know how Byrne has lost his front wing, but as you see, so this is what happened, obviously. So, oh, okay, so you see here the Lacio's front wing and just cannons, smashes right into the back of Evan Byrne, just at so much more speed. Obviously, he didn't realise Byrne had lost his front wing, but it's a spectacular hit. So there's a lot of action going on as Byrne does even more of a reverse there. But fortunately, there's no cars, so it's no danger really to anybody. Byrne now comes into the pits to fix both his rear wing and his front wing, as you couldn't fix the rear wing in this game. So he comes into the pits. I imagine he'll probably be close to a lap down by now, unless I'm mistaken, as he puts his front wing on and his rear wing, and he goes out the pit 7 seconds as Holst goes past Adam Wolf 12. As here is Will Neller and Joseph Willis still going at it, nearly contact, and oh, Neller's made a mistake. He's gone off into the gravel. Neller has made a mistake and he has lost it. The car, and he has spun off into the gravel trap. Sorry about that, guys. Neller has lost it and he's down to 8th place. Unless he drops to any more places, you go on board. He tried to make a move. Willis cut him off. Neller tried to brake but just lost control of his car. And sadly, sorry about that, guys. I had a bit of a problem there. For some reason, the video froze for a short bit, so fortunately I didn't quite get to finish off what happened at the end there. So I may be a bit out of sync. Boyman is coming to the pits, as here is Holst behind a Super Aguri and a Williams here. As we're on board with Holst, he tries to make the move on inside the Williams, and he does so. Is he going to make the move stick into the chicane? Yes, he does. I believe that's Surkoff ahead, and he does make the move stick. Actually, no, sorry, that's Adam Wolf. The Surkoff's in 7th place as Roper's just come into the pits. And is he going to come out ahead of Mackenzie? I'm not sure, but probably not, unless Mackenzie suffered a loss of pace. And Thompson is coming into the pits. See how quick this stop is. Here is Sontag, who is behind Joseph Willows, so there's a bit of probably team orders here. I don't think Joseph Willows particularly wants to lose the place, but Sontag is in a better position than him right now, so Sontag makes the move stick. There is Rope in 3rd place, and Mackenzie 2nd, so Mackenzie did get out ahead of him. So Willows has been passed by Sontag. As here is Jack Boyman trying to pass Surkoff. Surkoff is doing a great race. So, oh wait, this is not Surkoff, it's Force India. I'm an idiot. This is sorry, Azul Zafri in 8th place. A good result for him at the moment, but I don't know if that will last. We're nearly at the halfway point. So Waze Kuba yet to make a stop. The moment leads the Grand Prix, as there is, I believe. Here is both Super Guris being overtaken here. I believe this is Gal getting past Wolf, I believe, as Willows is now into the pits. See how quick this stop is. As Surkoff, who was in 7th, running a very good race so far, entertaining the crowd, managed to do a couple of really good overtakes. The Willows in the pits, 12.2, a long stop, so obviously they're going to try and fuel him to the end. But I don't know if they'll be able to make, well, I suppose they're nearly halfway, so they'll have to probably preserve the tyres. Surkoff comes in now, having to wait a bit. Surkoff having to wait a bit longer than he probably wanted for Zafri to come into the pits. That is going to affect Surkoff badly as Zafri comes out, and there goes Surkoff out onto the track. Gal's in the pits as well, James Willows, Moitian. All the drivers now coming into the pits. Gal goes out the pits. I believe that's probably Zafri in front. Zafri there. Oh, and Alex Southgate's off the track. It's not been a particularly good race for him, and he's retired with, I believe that was a transmission problem, and he is out of the race. Yeah, again, a disappointing race so far for Southgate, and he puts it in the wall. So we're now pretty much at the halfway point of the race. So Lacio, James Willows coming out of the pit lane. See where he comes out. He's coming out at the moment in 14th place. And he will stay there, I believe. As there is there's a car behind him. As Waze Kuba finally comes in for his first stop of the race. So he's dropped back to third, so Kuba will be happy to have led a few laps in the Renault. Again, he's had a pretty good race so far. He's been running, I think, behind Page Knight, but now Page Knight is out of this race. He'll technically be in 4th place, which is a good result for Renault. Good result for him. So he hasn't had a brilliant season, but he did have that pole in the Spanish Grand Prix. Is his Sontag, who I believe is he just coming into the pits? Yes, he is. So it's obviously another stop. Actually, he stopped, I think, on lap 13. So surprised he didn't try and go longer, Sontag. I'm not sure. As McLaren are trying to do a 3-stop. I'm not quite sure what they're trying to do here. But anyway, comes in, so he'll drop down a few places at the moment. He's dropped down to 5th. Will it be another place? I'm not sure as he's coming out of the pits. There is Jack Boyman. So is Sontag going to come out ahead of Jack Boyman? The answer is, well, I don't know, because the camera's gone off him halfway point. But Boyman is now trying to overtake Sontag down the back straight. Boyman is going to have fresher tyres. I believe he's made a stop, as far as I know, unless I'm wrong. Actually, well, I don't know if he's made a stop or not. But Dan and Wolf is trying to go past Gal for 11th place. Hasn't quite made it work. Coming up the first chicane. Now, it doesn't look like it's raining, as there's no rain on the moisture lens, so Mackenzie coming into the pits now. So I believe it looks like the track is drying. As you can see, there is some dry parts in the pits, so it is starting to dry out. So is it going to be the time for intermediate tyres to come into the pits? And Mackenzie's put on dry tyres. That is quite an interesting call there. I don't know if he made it, or I believe the team probably called him in and made it, but he's coming on dry tyres. I'm not sure if this is the right lap to do it in. The track doesn't look particularly dry. It's still wet. I can't see a dry line out on track. But Mackenzie's going to come out, so this will be the big factor in whether any other driver is going to come in. As there is Kuba who's going to come out behind Mackenzie. So as you can see, the track just doesn't look particularly dry. Obviously, it's not as wet as before, but there's no dry line. So this is going to be a big decider as Mackenzie comes out in 3rd place ahead of Kuba. So can Kuba overtake, as now Boyman is going to come into the pits? Is he going to do the same thing? Let's see what tyres they decide to put on his car. And I believe that is the dry tyre. I think that's the white stripe tyre, so he is going to go for it as well. It looks like. Seems a bit early, but obviously maybe the track is drying out quicker than we think. Obviously, it could be quite deceiving how wet it is out there. But anyway, it just doesn't look like it is particularly dry. So Roke at the moment still leads, still on intermediate tyres. Thompson is up at 2nd place at the moment. Good race from him. So they're going to try and last out probably until it's dry. And oh, that's Dmitry Surkov who's gone off the track. Surkov, who was running in 8th place, he was running in the points. Oh, that is surely going to cost him a chance of point. You can see he went onto the curb a bit there. It got a bit unsettled, and then he went onto the other curb, and that unfortunately put him right off the track. Managed to just about avoid the wall. And so he's going to drop quite a few places. He dropped down to 12th place, or further down to 13th. Oh, that is heartbreaking for Surkov, who's having, again, such a good race. But that is going to cost him dear, as Sam Thompson is going to come into the pits as well. He is going to be on dry tyres, so he is going for it as well. So far, Roke is one of the only ones at the top 5 who is yet to pit for dries. But Mackenzie, obviously, is in 3rd at the moment. And Roke is now coming in. I believe this is probably for dry tyres at the moment. We don't know how quick the pace is at the moment, but we will see. So Roke comes out, he does a 10.7, so Kuba has got past Mackenzie. Kuba has not yet pitted, so those dry tyres are definitely not working out yet at the moment for Mackenzie. So would it work out for Roke? The track's still looking pretty wet. So will Roke come out ahead of Mackenzie into the pit? So Sontag, I don't know if he's on dry tyres as well, but I believe he might still be on inters, because he's definitely quite fast. As here is Waze Kuba, who's right behind Roke, and he is still on inters, I believe, as Kuba is going to overtake George Roke for the lead. So Waze Cooper is going to lead this race. At the moment he's on Inter, so it is the right tyre choice. So as you can see, Roke is on dries, but still, I think, losing pace as Waze Cooper goes past him. Clearly on the better tyres, on the better strategy, so Renault have thought this through, so at the moment, Cooper will lead. So can he get a decent gap? I don't know if he'll be able to get out in front of these two, depending on how quickly it dries. As you can see, there is a faint dry line that is beginning to appear on the track, so Cooper may have to pit in the next lap or two, but Sontag is going to overtake Mackenzie. It's still just well enough for Inters, so as you can see, you can just about see a faint dry line, just about coming through the chicane there. So the dry tyres hopefully soon will be able to work out, but at the moment, it's still working out very well for Waze Cooper and Felix Sontag, so Roke has managed to get out ahead of Sontag. As now Delatio comes in, I imagine probably for dry tyres. He comes into the pits. He comes in for a change of tyres onto the dry tyres. So Kuba's still staying out on track. Roke's still in second place, and you can see a dry line there coming onto the pit straight, a small dry line. So I imagine as Sontag now comes into the pits again, probably, I don't know why, to be honest. I don't know why he would come into the pits again. He would still probably be able to catch up to Roke because he's on, I suppose, well, unless he's still on Inters, but I believe he probably is still on Inters. So yeah, I'm getting a bit confused, but no, he's still on Inters, but no, there he is going on to dry tyres as he comes out of the pits. So it's not quite worked out as well for Sontag. Although he was one of the fastest guys on track, as Willows now comes into the pits as well with dry tyres, as now he's going to have to wait for his pit crew to come out as Sontag has just come out. So this is going to affect Willows very badly. It's not worked out at all well for the McLaren crew, and it's another strategy that's gone wrong for McLaren again, and they are going to be very down. There's obviously a bit of a glitch there, obviously with the tyres, but as Moitin's in the pits, I believe that's no, it's Joseph Willows, I think. Gal's in the pits, Nella's in the pits, so all these guys are now going to start pitting for dry tyres. So it is now definitely the time for dry tyres. Everyone is in the pits. There's going to be mad action here. So Moichin is going to move up a few races. He's going to move up into the top 10. It's been a good race for Moichin since that incident on that one with Rowan Volker. So now Wolf is going to come into the pits. There's, I think, Zafri as well. Gal's just going out. And that is Nella behind as well. Nella's not had a good race as Wolf goes out. Zafri's now going to go out. Willows is going to go out. It worked out particularly well for him. Strachan, I believe, is probably in as well. And yes, he is. So we don't know what's going on up front. I believe Kuva is still out on track at the moment. Yes, he's got a 3.8 second lead over Roke. So I believe this is where the dry tyres are now going to start to work. So sorry, Kuba is now going to have to pit, and yes, he does. Kuba now pits for dry tyres. So it's worked out pretty well for BMW in the end, although probably not as well as Mackenzie as he would have wanted. He has to wait for Byrne to come out. So Kuba now comes into the pits, so George Roke will now be the new leader with Mackenzie in second place. So I don't know where Kuba will come out, but I believe because Sontag's had to make another stop behind Kuba that he will come out ahead of him as Surkoff now comes into the pits. Been a really good race so far for Surkoff, apart from that spin, which probably denied him the chance of points, sadly. But he can take home the fact that he's been battling with the Williams and a Ferrari and made some great overtaking moves. As that is Azul Zafri who's gone off the track. He needs to wait for cars to come on. You can see more of a dry line appearing on the track. And Zafri just goes onto the wet stuff and loses control of his car and does hit the wall, but manages to avoid any contact as he waits for, I believe that was BMW, to go past there. He joins the track. As Azul Zafri goes off again, coming into the chicane and comes up right in front of Jay Mackenzie. And Delasio and Byrne, that was a very, really a very bad mistake from Azul Zafri. He goes off right in front of Mackenzie. There is Gal, who sets the fastest lap of the race in the Toro Rosso, obviously really putting the pace on those dry tyres. As there is Cooper, who has come out in third place ahead of Sontag, who is down in fourth, so it's not quite worked out as well as Sontag would have hoped for. But he's still at least in the top 5, although he would probably have been more in his home race after being on pole position for the second race in a row. But as we're on board with, is this Azul Zafri, I believe? And I believe it is, and he goes off again. Azul Zafri is just really struggling on these dry tyres, and that is Azul Zafri off again. As Rolev Moitin is out of the race again. He was in the points, he was in 8th place, 7th place actually, sorry. And his car has given up on him just before the end. I feel so sorry for him. He is definitely the most unluckiest driver in GP4 Offline League Championship history. I don't know how it could get any worse for him, but you can see he has a believe, I don't know what that was, I believe it's a puncture I think he's had. And that is him who was retired from the Grand Prix coming up to the first chicane. And that is going to be good for him. As Will Neller is going to take 8th place. Obviously we don't know what will happen with him with regards to penalties. But Roland Moitian out of the races. Mackenzie now sets the fastest lap in 2nd place. Behind Roke in 1st. I don't know what the gap is between the two. The moment, but here is Surkoff, who is in 10th place, and Surkoff goes wide on, and he hits the wall into turn 1. Surkoff, who is running still in the top 10, is going to have a good result, but sadly, probably frustrated at the fact he made that mistake earlier on, coming into the final corner, and unfortunately he's now binned it. You see, it's still pretty wet at turn 1, and he obviously got on to the wet stuff, and he just couldn't stop the car. Dry tyres on a wet line on the wet doesn't particularly work out well, and that is him into the barriers and out of the race. With 1 lap to go, as we're now on the final lap, so Roke is now, I believe, still leading the race. Kuba's in 3rd place, Mackenzie's 2nd, Roke is still leading at the moment, coming down the first of the long straight, so Roke has managed to, first thanks to, I suppose, a good strategic call really from BMW, pitted a couple of laps later than Mackenzie did, which is probably just the right decision, as I think Mackenzie still probably should have waited a lap or 2 more, as I think probably some just a little too early. Roke just got it right, just about, and he leads the Grand Prix ahead of Mackenzie, as that is Viggo Holst who has now crashed off at turn 1. Not been a good race for the Force Indias. As you can see, he does the same thing as Surkoff does, and he goes wide, and he loses it in the wall. He uses his rear wheel, and that is him out of the race, unfortunately. So it was an encouraging race for Zafri. It was in the points at one point in 8th. Sadly, that is not going to happen, as Roke at the moment is coming around the 2nd chicane onto the 2nd to last straight. So Roke, after winning his home Grand Prix, looks set at the moment, unless he has a problem, which is easily possible. It could easily happen as he comes into the 3rd chicane. To say, I do honestly prefer Hockenheim like this, just straight chicane. I think it provides certainly better racing than the other layout for me personally. I imagine probably a lot of the other drivers as well who thought that, as Roke comes round into the stadium section. Not the result that Germany would have wanted, not the result that Sontag would have wanted. He really would have wanted to have won this in front of his home crowd, not the result that Volker wanted either, unfortunately, and he retired on lap 1 after a great qualifying. But here comes George Roke coming around the final corner, and he comes around the final corner. George Roke wins the German Grand Prix. Another great strategic call from BMW, and he sets the fastest lap as well on the final lap. And that is, I believe, Willows behind in 10th. Yes, it is. So Mackenzie is going to come over 2nd for a BMW 1-2. And Waze Kuba, I believe, is going to be in 3rd, unless Sontag has caught up to him. And there is Waze Kuba in 3rd place. Waze Kuba going to take a podium for Renault. A great result from him, a great result for the team. I'll help them with the truck standings. As here comes Felix Sontag in 4th place. Unfortunate race for Sontag, just didn't quite work out very well for him. Unfortunately, due to, I suppose, the bad strategic call of the team. Nothing to do with his driving, as I suppose he drove really well, especially when Mackenzie and Roke were on dry tyres on still a wet track. Really, he was the fastest guy in the race at one point, but unfortunately, it's going to be absolutely gutting for him. as Jack Boyman is going to come home in 5th place. An impressive race from him, so he comes home in 5th. And Joseph Willis is going to come home in 6th place, ahead of Will Miller crucially, as Gal, after the first lap incident, was set to come in 7th place. He set a number of fastest laps, and he comes around the final corner and he takes P7, and he also sets the fastest lap. He's setting a number of them, as Will Miller is going to come home in 8th, but we need to wait and see what will happen at the end of the race with his with that incident with Florian Volker, as he comes home in P8. And Adam Wolf for Super Aguri is set to take P9. A great result for Super Aguri, a great result for him. He's had a quiet race. You haven't heard much about him. It was mainly about Circle, how well he was doing. We forgot about Adam Wolf. He comes home in 9th. A great result for the Super Aguri team. 1 hour and 8th. He won't be happy with that. Ferrari were off the pace all weekend. Joseph Willis was in 6th, so that will help him in the standings. Will help him in the driver's standings. So here is the race results, with George Roque in 1st place, ahead of Jay McKenzie in 2nd, Waze Cooper in 3rd, Felix Sontag 4th, Jack Boyman 5th, Joseph Willis 6th, and Mikos Gall in 7th, with Will Miller at this moment in time completing the top 8, but we don't know what will happen after the race. So provisionally in 8th place, with Adam Wolf in 9th, still on the lead lap as well, so a good race from Adam Wolf. Again, he went quite under the radar, with James Weller's disappointing 10th, finished Strachan 11th, Byrne 12th, Glacier 13th, Zafri, who, no, he still finished, it was his teammate Holster retired, Circle 15th, Hulse 16th, with Moitian, Thompson, Southgate, and the rest of the drivers out of the race. As Mikos Gall set the fastest lap ahead of Roque, Kuba, and Sontag, with Mackenzie 5th, Boyman, Willows, Neller, Circle, Wolf. So good pace for the Super Aguris, really, at the end of the race. So impressive from both drivers. You see all the fastest laps of the race. Volker didn't unfortunately set one. As here is the driver's standings. So Will Neller did have a penalty. He had a 25-second penalty, which means that Adam Wolf gets promoted up into 8th place, which gives him and Super Guru's first point of the season. So congratulations to them. Alacio also had a 25-second penalty for the incident with Evan Byrne, but he didn't lose any positions. As here is the standings, with Willows now leading by 15 points ahead of Will Neller, with George Roque now above Felix Sontag into 3rd place. He's now in the championship contention. Sontag's still in championship contention at the moment. Mackenzie in 5th place. Don't know if he's still in with a chance, but as long as he still gets podiums, then that would be good. Marta in 6th, but he'll obviously drop down the order as he's not racing in the series, as he left McLaren. Junqueira 7th, Kuba 8th, Boyman 9th, Willows 10th, Knight 11th, Byrne 12th, Volker 13th, Thompson 14th, Strachan 15th, Gal 16th with 2 more points, Sincar 17th, Southgate, Hulse, Wolf, Glacio, with Zafri, Surkoff, and Moitian still last in the standing. In the constructors, still a tight battle between McLaren and Ferrari, only 4 points in it, with BMW again on their own in 3rd place, well ahead of Toyota, and then Red Bull and Williams and Renault, and then Toro Rosso in 8th. Great battle there, brewing for 4th place in the constructors, with Honda 9th and Force India and Super Curie tying on 1 point. So thank you very much for watching the German Grand Prix. So we will see you for the next round in Hungary. It's been a great race today, but we will see you for the next round in Hungary. So see you then.